I left Ghana for UK.
That's very important because the goal for me and for us is to make sure that you succeed.
That's the thing.
Right. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Fred. Hi, Fred.
Welcome to Farming in Africa.
Medasi. Thank you.
Great. So, Eric, let's start from the beginning. So, I got to speak to you through my wife. My wife and your wife are friends.
Correct.
So I came back from work, I think on was it 2 days ago, and she says, "Oh, my friend's husband wants to speak to you, so you should call." So I was like, "Okay." But then when I came back, she was asleep. So the following day, I was like, "Do you want to call your friends?" Like, yes. So she called, and you were behind the phone.
That's correct.
Yes. So tell us what is happening. Give us a bit of introduction about you.
Well, I'm Eric, and a Ghanaian by birth, but schooled in Ghana. Was an air traffic controller.
Okay.
Did my national service as an air traffic controller, and then I flew out.
Okay.
I initially wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
But the farming was always behind the scene.
Okay.
So this is how the connection all comes about. As I know and understand, my grandfather was into farming.
Yeah.
Had farms in the Brongahafo.
Yeah.
He was chief superintendent of police, assistant superintendent of police. Because of his good works, he was given a lot of lands and what have you.
Yeah.
I was actually, I lived in Suhum for some time.
Yeah.
So yes, even though I'm a Accra boy, I still, I saw my grandfather cutting sugar canes and, sitting me down. And so it made it, I think it's something I just acquired from him, really.
Yeah.
But fast track, a few years down the line, I actually did computer science physics. I'm a double major in computer science and physics. I left Ghana for UK to go and do two things: to teach, to learn how best to teach.
Yeah.
Because I saw some differences in how teaching was done here.
Yeah.
And some few issues I had myself. Apparently, I was dyslexic.
Yeah. Okay.
And I always put in a lot of effort, but you don't see the results.
Yeah. Okay.
So. I went to UK, I started the teaching course, and somehow I managed to go into energy as well. So I was doing both of them.
Yeah.
So I worked for a company called EDF Energy.
Okay.
And as a control manager for 5 years.
Yeah.
And a bit more.
Yeah.
And we're working on quite bespoke stuff.
Yeah.
Where we're controlling, large amount of energy for the national grid.
Okay.
And it had never been done before, so it was very exciting. I was applying my computer science and all that. And then fast track, we had our daughter. I met my wife in the same company.
Yeah.
We had our daughter, first daughter, and we didn't really want her to grow up in London, so we moved out where my wife's family is from. So therefore, I had to also move. So I joined a boutique company, which was a consulting firm.
Yeah.
And so I ended up traveling around a lot.
Yeah.
And subsequently, I stayed there for another 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
I moved to another company, which is Centrica British Gas. Worked there for a while, and I got an opportunity to go and work in Saudi Arabia, Middle East, with one of the biggest oil company, Aramco, where I worked there for corporate planning and the CEO's office, and then went and worked in power systems for almost 10 years.
Wow.
So we've just come back. It's been about a year. But in coming back, I have been planning, spending many hours planning. I was also doing some investment appraisal for people in Ghana and who want to establish businesses. So they will send the business plan, we'll look at it, we'll see whether it's feasible or not. And you know, so I was doing this with one of my friends, Dr. Ken, and it was quite interesting. So I could see the possibilities, the opportunities, and I love researching. So that's how I first actually saw your channel. Because I was more focused on agric and, you know, any other opportunities, basically. Why agric and any other opportunities? Because agric, everybody has to eat, right? If you look at the coronavirus and, sorry, the C word, you know how it goes. We were all locked down, but we had to find food.
We still have to function.
So if everybody was being locked down, I'm sure the farmers were not going to be locked down. Right. So it goes back to sustenance. It goes back to survival. And that said, it was also a drive. Let's actually go back. I think between the age of 10 and 12, I had my own farm.
Nice.
And I had a nickname, Farmer Oak. And I see that actually I'm hands-on. And applying all these ideas that I had already, you know, sought after and read about and researched about, I thought it would be great coming down to do something. But from the family point of view too, I thought it would be great to also bring my kids back home. You know, having been born outside, parents growing older, nephews growing older. I thought it would be a good synergy to just do everything together. So fast forward, managed to bring my daughter down, who was in private school in UK, Scotland. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be easy.
Of course.
Some people don't take the change that easily. Adapting wasn't that easy, but it was manageable. Obviously, looking at the schools, which school to attend, and, you know, the transition is not that straightforward. There are subjects they don't do, and all those kind of stuff. I mean, if you say you're going to actually make sure everything is 100%, you will never come. You will never come back.
You know what? And one thing I also hear a lot of people say is, my kids are young, so I can't come now.
No, that's the right time to come. So
why
I have a 16-year-old, I have a 9-year-old, and I have a little baby.
So you have the range.
Yeah, it's easier for the little ones to assimilate into the culture, because the older ones have their lifestyle. Even the middle born, who's about 10, exactly, who is about 10, still wants to go back to Saudi, because that's where her friends are.
He's already made connections. Like,
all the connections are made, and she really enjoyed that place. She calls her home. I would advise they come earlier, because when they come earlier as well, they manage to make their friends now, or as early as possible, because then that becomes the bedrock. Because networking is also very important.
I agree.
That's one of also the other reasons why I decided to bring the kids. You know? I knew there were going to be challenges. For me, it's much easier for me. I just need a computer and a laptop and a room air conditioner. I'm great. But it's not everybody who is like that. So you have to understand, kids' world, it's easier for them to integrate into society than adults, because adults have their ways already mapped out. To answer your question, let them come earlier if possible.
That makes a lot of sense. I know we're going to go into agriculture, but I think this is also very important, because I know about 60% of our viewers are living in the diaspora in UK, and therefore most of you, as you're thinking about moving, these are some of the questions you're wondering, and seeing somebody who has done it. I mean, I've done it myself, but I felt like I was never there in the first place. I was always in and out, even when I was so I lived in London too. In King's Cross. So I will come to Ghana like 3-4 times a year, right? Because I still had projects and things that I was doing.
I thought you were just missing your mom.
that too, you know. And so But you have spent a good amount of time there, build a family there, which is more relatable to what most people are doing. So maybe more towards some guidelines or more advice or things that you did before making the move.
This is all very individualistic.
Yeah.
You need to assess your own situation because each one and its own challenges.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have enough, whatever that word means in your own financial dictionary. Also tell yourself that it may not work. And what is your fallback? What I would have done, because as I said, I actually contacted you, I think 2001 or 19. Yeah, I contacted you earlier. I think I spoke to one of your colleagues called Eric. But I think then you were on the farm and we were supposed to meet, but something happened. I would think if you can find somebody who is already in the business that you want to do and partner with them. What I'm trying to look at is how best can you de-risk?
Yes.
There's a lot of risk, unknowns, in the system that you are not aware of.
Yes.
But you don't want to trust someone and you don't want to be an absentee person.
Yes.
So somehow, some way,
you
have to find a way to partner. Because if you're supposed to put $50,000 on the table, you're putting 25. Though your returns are not going to be of the $50,000.
That's what you put in.
At least you're getting something, 25%. But the risk is lower.
Yeah.
So if you had three of you coming together, also lower risk.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how we need to all start doing it, because we've all heard stories. People come and it doesn't work and they go back, and especially if you're not young, then it's a big risk because you can't go back and start all over again. So that's my answer to that question.
Yeah, and I think that's very important because the goal for me and for us is to make sure that you succeed.
That's the thing,
right? Because when you succeed, you tell your story. Others get inspired. They come.
It's very, very important. It's very, very important that we succeed.
Yes, and as you said, if you're not young, which most people are not even, after living abroad for like 30 years, 40 years, and I had an interview with one man at the early stage, maybe 3 years ago, and he had moved from Germany.
Okay.
And he's now looking for a loan at a bank in Ghana. And he wasn't even looking for much. He was just looking for about 10,000 cedis. Because everything he started to do in Ghana failed.
That's the
thing. He did some, I think, mango or something, and it didn't work. He did poultry, it didn't work. And now he's basically, agric is what he wants to do, but he doesn't have money. And it struck me right there. I was like, why would you leave abroad where you can get loan
as very small interest rate
to Ghana, where you're even looking at 34%, 44%. Where did this man go wrong? Right?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Sometimes this move is also emotionally tied.
Yeah.
And it gets tiring because you just constantly researching, looking at various YouTubes and trying to decipher what is right, what is wrong, what is a story, and what is, real, but life is full of risk, and you have to try and distill everything and make the risk as small as possible. I've questioned myself, do I really want to keep staying here for longer than I should? I mean, when you're tired of corporate as well, you are like, okay, what else can I do? I just want to do things in my terms. It's not like corporate is bad, but it just,
at some point,
it gives you, the alternative gives you the freedom. And when we talk about freedom, I think people tend to get it wrong because you could be working more hours in your own business than you ever work in corporate. You know, you don't have that fallback that the team gives you. You know, everything is up to you. You know, the failure, the success of the team, the business, the family, it's all up to you. So it is daunting, but when it works, then it gives you that freedom. But you have to work for it. The next 5 years, the next perhaps 10 years. So let's all not get it twisted. You know, that thing we all talk about, time freedom, and, you know, all that kind of freedom comes at a cost. There's a cost to it.
There's something I've picked from what you said, which is the emotion, making this decision. Guys, I hope this is helpful. Let us know in the comment below it is or not. But I think there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm learning a lot from some of the things that you're saying. I mean, we the influencers have a big role to play in it. But the natural fact is also that people like those things. This conversation that we have, and people might even think it's boring. People might think that, oh, okay, the first thing is, okay, he moved. They want to hear all the good stuff. They want to hear, oh, he's moved now, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's succeeding here.
But this is the reality. I mean, I'm sure, Fred, you moved how many years ago?
No, 8? I actually moved my family. No, I moved 8
years ago.
Back and forth, and then I moved my family. Is it 2 years ago?
Right. Okay. But Fred didn't start making it day one.
No.
You know, as we say, every journey starts with one step. So yes, the destination is there, the goal is there, but we won't get there for the next couple of years. Anything that comes fast goes fast. That's my take on things. It's patience that will get us there.
Definitely.
And we need to be preaching that as well. We need to be addressing that as well. And it might not work. And we need to talk about that as well. And so that we can learn from it. It's lessons learned. You know, it's very important for others not to make the same mistakes as we do.
Exactly. You know, and as you said, there's a lot of risk. How do you de-risk that risk? It's better planning, talking to people, you know, making sure that you're keeping your hands on the pulse, checking the pulse, making sure that there's, you know, experimenting, you know, don't just jump into it, right? What is your plan B, right? Where do you go back to when it doesn't work? Because some of it wouldn't work, right? The challenges are inevitable, but those challenges are what is presenting the opportunities for us as well, right? But then, so if you have the time to plan and do all this research, you take advantage of the challenge and turn it into something, right?
That's a good point. So, absolutely.
So this video was basically to help most of you, and this, you know, if you look deep, can even apply to most of you that are in the city, you know, working your banking job, your whatever position that you have in the office, but you're still thinking about going into farming, right? Put yourself as in what we're talking about. How do you make that shift? Agriculture definitely is gonna be the future. As you rightly said, everybody eats. In every house, you will find a farmer's product in there.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not in every house that you will find a certain industrial product in there. Right? We're gonna increase, we're growing, and as we grow, we just have to feed, right?
You are what you eat.
Exactly. So there is definitely, it is something that shouldn't be taken for granted, but it needs to be done well. Right? And I know that, you know, all the feedback that we've given to you guys, you take it into consideration. It's not sexy, it's not the fun ways, but it's the truth. It's what I think. And when we started this conversation, I said, I like to be real. I like the conversations to be real, not, you know, sugarcoat it. Because I've been in that situation as well. I started this channel because of the information that I didn't have. And I was like, how many people like me living in the US who wants to do cattle farming, goat farming, and they can find anything online because the average age of a farmer in Ghana is 60. A 60-year-old is not online putting that information, it's not documenting. Right. So I hope this helps and you guys can learn from it. Do you have any last words to majority of our folks that are watching us abroad?
So I think just go with your gut. Just test your goals, test your ideas, question it, re-question it, speak to your friends about it. Some will just let your goal and your gut be your guide, because what you feel inside is not the same as what someone else will feel inside. We are all individuals, and we come with certain, pertinent stuff in us that would guide us to what we need to do. So just go with your goal guts, but test it. Let's test it. Just keep testing it until you get a result that you really want. So that's basically what I have to say.
No, I think that's true. And if I've learned one thing from this is basically, making sure you have your cash flow. So
it's very important.
Right? It's an individual basis. So cut your coat according to your size and what fits you. Right? Plan. Check the post, talk to people. Mostly we feel like everybody doesn't want to share. Every African is that. No. There are some of us who are sitting here on a holiday that we could use our time to do something, really putting this out there for you guys to benefit from. Right? There's no amount of money that YouTube is going to pay me that's going to be more than the impact that this video is going to make in your life and somebody's life. And to us, that's what motivates us to continue doing what we are doing. Right? So reach out to us, reach out to more people like us and learn from it. Because as I said at the beginning, we want you to succeed. And if you do succeed, we will meet, at the cross line. Absolutely. And cheers together. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you again in another video.